Hey everyone, how you guys doing? Tammy Davis here. For those of you who are new, welcome. Stick around. This is going to be good. This is really back on topic, if you will. The last couple weeks I've been putting out some videos that were more involved with our emotional well-being, and it still has a lot of value to me. It's very meaningful to me that, and truthfully, our brain health is what instigates everything about our mental health as well as our physical health. But today I want to talk a lot about what lights me up when it comes to essential oils. I've had a really intense week. I don't know about any of you guys, but it's been basically off the charts. It's been exciting, okay? I did have, technology issues throughout the week, but then Mercury did go retrograde. I mean, to the point where my phone just went, I just have an Apple icon on my screen and that's it. Oh, and if you didn't know that, if you don't know this, your phone may be in perfectly good condition and eligible to be traded in, but if they can't boot it up to where they can actually see the screen and interact with the phone, they won't take it. So yeah, I have a, it would be a $220 credit, but I can't use it because, well, I have an Apple icon. So I'm hoping that maybe whatever upgrade they pushed through will ease up and we can at least open it up to where it's viewable. But that's not even anything. That's kind of been my week. I had computer issues, I had phone issues, but in the meantime, I still managed to get a lot done. And that's actually what brings me to this today, because something that I love to do a lot is investigate facts. I've talked about this in the past, but the level of misinformation out there is off the charts, more off the charts. And I say that because we are a culture that wants to take a bottle and just say, this is good for this. Yeah, right? So, I mean, it's basically what it is. The bottle is something. It doesn't make any difference what it is. And there's all of these promises on there as to what it's good for. And, and I think sometimes they do talk about who it's good for, but not necessarily that as much as it is what it'll do for you. And sadly, not everybody gets the results. But who do you talk to? I mean, because you just purchased it at the store, or you purchased it online, and you didn't purchase it from the person who produced it. You just managed to get it through the middleman, and you don't go yell at the middleman. So what do? You just set it to the side and go on to what's next. And the reason I point this out is I've been contacted by several people this week to do research for them. And one particular person had me research what she kept calling a potassium tincture. And then there was 4 different people with health issues that she wanted me to formulate, provide her with the formulas. So that's what I did. As I came up, I formulated essential oil blends for these people, provided her with the recipes, if you will, so that she could make them on her own because she has the oil blends. But in the meantime, she wanted me to at least kind of figure out who needed what. And so that's the kind of stuff that just makes my day. But the potassium, and what was interesting is these 4 people, husband, wife, son, and sister-in-law. And so clearly there's some blood relation, there's some family history here. I've talked about this in the past as well, that family history does not necessarily mean that you develop a health condition like everybody else in your family. It's thoughts and behaviors that are really what's inherited, not the health condition itself. But keep in mind, those thoughts and behaviors are what activate and deactivate various epigenetic functions, therefore kind of predisposing you to certain health conditions. So the fact that this is basically a family, every single one of them is living with some level of autoimmune. I had one with MS, one with Hashimoto's, one that's pre-diabetic, and another one that is the aftermath of having had Lyme a few years back. And the reason for the potassium tincture was because they had heard that this was going to be good for heat exhaustion or kind of cooling the body, right? I'm actually going to do a newsletter. My newsletter for July is going to be on this. I mean, it's a perfect time. We're at summer, yay, summer solstice this weekend. So we've hit summer. We're coming into the heat of the summer, more or less. Pardon me. And so being able to talk about how and why heat exhausts us is what I'm going to write about. So if you haven't joined my email list, please go to synergessence.com and do that, because you'll hear more about it there. But I will be talking about the potassium in that as well, along with other suggestions and thoughts as to why, like I said, why heat exhaustion is, or intolerance, put it this way, heat intolerance is such an issue for so many people these days. But as far as the potassium tincture is concerned, it was being promoted as something that is very cooling to the body. No, it's not. It's not cooling to the body. I'm not quite sure who was marketing this. I've not found anything with that particular description. There are a lot of potassium supplements out there. I will tell you that potassium is the antidote, so to speak, of sodium. Kind of like, magnesium and calcium work together, potassium and sodium work together. But you got to be careful, okay? I mean, here we have somebody out there going, potassium, use it. But if you take certain medications, you cannot be using potassium with these medications. So it's not good for everybody, number one. Number two, it's not tolerated by a lot of people. Oral supplementation of potassium is not necessarily advantageous because it upsets and creates digestive disturbances. Digestive tract disturbances, more specifically. So although potassium will support the relief of the stress mechanism, because sodium levels go up because we need more fluid when the body's being threatened, especially during times of heat. So the sodium levels are, sodium's being used in the production of fluid and holding onto fluid, and it's just all around fluids, right? And potassium would be the counter to that. But that's not really the solution for heat intolerance. And understanding the individual is very important. And so when I formulated these essential oil blends, or formulated the recipes, if you will, for her, I took into consideration how everything is manifesting in the body. Okay, so how the body is presenting this in the form of a health condition. But the theme here is an immune system on high alert. And then you can't even be very clear about what part of the immune system. I mean, you can and you can't, and it's a little bit more information than I want to put into this video, because there's another little topic I want to talk about here in a minute. But the fact is that the immune system is very diverse. It's multi-leveled. It's unique to every individual. If you haven't seen anything I've talked about before about with regards to the immune system, that was one of the big changes that occurred to the human genome back in the early 1300s during the time of the Black Plague. Is there was an imprint on the human genome, and that is the reason why we managed to survive that pandemic, because the body did what it needed to do to survive, and that was without any vaccinations or influence from man. The body just did what it naturally knows to do, or is wired to do. Through the introduction of all of this technology, including medications and so forth, the epigenome is just as diverse as our fingerprints, and so is the immune system. So when I say it's an immune system on high alert, it could be at any level. It could be high, immunoglobulin A and low immunoglobulin M. I mean, it just really depends. And again, your symptoms will help determine more effective way. But the bottom line, regardless, because you have the innate and then you have the adaptive. The innate in this case would be the one that I'm referring to as far as being more on high alert. Starts to release macrophages. That's part of the immune reaction. That's one of the things that our mast cells is one of the first things that's being released. Macrophages, histamine, and so forth. Okay, there's your fluids. But with that present, it signals or triggers the release of a hormone from the liver, hepcidin, and hepcidin blocks the release of iron from the liver. Okay, so heat will exacerbate this. Okay, heat is a stressor to the body. Excessive heat is a serious stressor to the body. So, pardon me, we need to perspire. We need, if the body's it's just doing what it needs to do. And as I've said historically, it does not know the difference between a true threat, a mental threat, a mental and emotional threat. Heat is obviously a threat until you take care of it and get yourself out of it. And if you're unable to remove yourself from this excessive heat, then the body's going to do what it has to do to keep your system as cooled as possible. Okay? But it will fatigue you because all of this other stuff is happening. And if you already have other health conditions going on, guaranteed this is going to be happening. Guaranteed. This is the reason why we have these afternoon slumps. Because, like I said, the hepcidin is blocking the release of iron from the liver, which is going to cause fatigue, massive fatigue. This does not mean you take iron. This means we got to find a way to soothe the immune response, soothe the stress response, and stabilize that hormonal system. Because once hepcidin is no longer being produced, iron is now released. The reason hepcidin is being used is it actually inhibits any potential microbe from taking our iron. So it's kind of like I said, it's a running block for our own body and protecting the loss of iron to another organism. Pretty freaking ingenious if you ask me. But this is also going to account for your heat intolerance, and potassium will not fix that. It'll begin to eke into helping to stabilize the stress response, but it's not going to be, that's just a counter, like I said, to sodium. But there's other systems that have been activated, and this is where the use of oils comes in. Now, as you know, or maybe you don't, and now you're going to hear it, not all essential oils don't work with medications as a whole. They will work if we know what you're taking medication-wise, which I can help you figure that out. If that's something that you're interested in, you just can sign up at synergessence.com, go to my services tab, and just sign up for a consult there. I also have research opportunities. If you'd like me to do some research for you, you can sign up for that there. And then we can communicate via email. You let me know what you're looking for, yada, yada, yada. Didn't mean to go there. I did, but you know what I'm saying. So, medications and oils don't go hand in hand unless you actually know what you're working with regards to medications, because, and this is what I'm talking a lot about on Instagram, at TammyDavis8. I'm beginning to really show the chemistry and how this is working when it comes to oils and the medications and the human body and so forth, and why it's very important to understand the chemistry of oils and how we introduce them and when we introduce them. Again, this goes back into this misinformation regarding, just pre-made blends being good for everybody. No, they're not. It's actually pretty severe, severely dangerous is how I want to say that. And here's a good example. So as I'm revising this book, and the list of oils that I have in this book haven't changed, I'm going to be adding more information to it because I want this to be a comprehensive review of oils and how to use them for sleep and so forth. And again, the whys and the hows and so forth, and the whens. But there's a particular constituent that comes to mind with this research that I'm doing for my own book, and it's a constituent in a number of oils called farnesol. The body actually makes this, okay, and it's involved in cholesterol synthesis. What's fascinating to me is, like I said, the body actually makes this, and because it's involved with cholesterol synthesis, is hugely indicative of its influence on the hormonal system. Because, I mean, this is how we produce steroid hormones with cholesterol, but we also have an abnormal production of cholesterol going on, which has a lot to do with the epigenome and the way it is functioning in response to the environment, our mind, our emotions. And this is the reason why brain health is so important, and why I started this group for trauma called Balance Wellness, because all of that is going to affect our epigenome again, and the way it processes the information, and how not just process the information coming in, what the result of the body is going to be. This could be insomnia. This could be headaches. This could be diabetes. It could be cancer. It can be anything, because ongoing oxidative stress production, which is a result of an active system on high alert, ongoing production of oxidative stress and inflammation leads to degenerative disease. This is one extraordinary reason why changing thoughts and beliefs, patterns that don't necessarily constitute a peaceful, easygoing kind of lifestyle, when we're always ramped up and ready to get after it. That inflammatory type of reaction, that is what's going to lead to more inflammatory processes and reactions within the system. So it's all interrelated. So that said, if we can't produce farnesol, then using oils would be, using oils period is helpful. But if we've gone so far as to be needing medications, and there's nothing wrong with medications, because there's a lot of health conditions that require assistance. If you've gone to the point of a health condition, a diagnosis, then getting on medications is extraordinarily important. And then learning how to integrate oils that benefit the results of those medications and sustainable progress is where I'm at. If you are not on medications yet, then using oils to facilitate stability within the hormonal system and stability within the immune system actually promises a healthier future. Because, as I said, with this farnesol, it's interesting. It's produced throughout nature. So here's a really good example as to why using oils is beneficial for humans. Because we produce this chemical, but it starts to falter under times of stress. Then, so you add such oils that, and it's found in a number of oils, and you start adding oils. Now you are actually benefiting your system. You're benefiting the cholesterol synthesis. You're helping to stabilize the hormonal system. You're actually bringing inner peace to your world through your mind. I mean, this is extraordinary. And so I just bring this up because this is why. This is honestly why you can't deny the fact that we are nature. If we are producing chemicals that the plants are producing, and if we get tripped up by something and we can't seem to break free of it, including oils for mental and emotional stability, is huge. It's huge, because we can offset a lot. This is called palliative care. We can offset a horrible breakdown by helping to stabilize the system early on. So, it's a lot of information. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, Tammy Davis 8 on Instagram. That is in the box below. Links to my website are in the box below. If I can be of assistance to you, by all means, let me know. And if you would just like to join my email list, do so. I appreciate it very much. And any way that you can contribute to me providing for you makes it just that much more. It makes it easier for me to afford the to be able to do this for you. All right. So thank you, and I will talk to you later.